as a buyer, when we're in a multiple offer situation and we're talking about the appraisal gap and covering the difference when we're making an offer, what that means is you are offering a price for the home and then you're offering to pay the difference if it doesn't appraise. So if you're offering to pay $350,000 for a home and the appraisal comes back at $325,000, there is a difference of appraisal of $25,000. So that's a problem, $25,000. What are we going to do about it? So when we're making offers right now, one of the things we're doing that sellers are looking for is to see upfront what a buyer is willing to do. And some buyers are saying, we don't care, we'll pay the difference no matter what. So that kind of leaves you as the buyer out there to do anything. So if the appraisal comes in at $300,000, that's $50,000. If the appraisal comes in at $365,000, remember you were paying $350,000, then you're in the positive. That doesn't mean you pay more. That means that they say you have instant equity. It really doesn't mean anything because you're not turning around and selling the house the next day. It just means you're good to go to closing. Doesn't change anything about your mortgage or down payment. Just means everything's good to go. You don't pay any difference of appraisal. You just have your closing costs, your down payment. Nobody needs to know anything. It's your business and the banks. Anything below the $350,000 and in between the $325,000 and the $350,000, if you had set like a $25,000 parameter, then you would have to pay a difference if you had defined it. If you had left it open-ended, then you would have to pay no matter what that difference was. When I'm working with my buyers, I like to define it, and that's why I brought up that $25,000. So we define it where your comfort level is. So it could be $2,500, it could be $15,000, it could be $10,000, but we talk about it. And what we talk about is what's going on in that area. So what I have found is a lot of listing agents are having a hard time pricing houses. It's not because they're not smart. It's not because they don't know what's going on. It's because it's really hard right now because the market's moving so fast. And it's hard to know what is going on if you're not talking to literally everybody and having a pulse on every neighborhood in every area, which is hard to do. So I really look at what's going on and I make a lot of phone calls and I talk to a lot of people. Everybody knows I like to talk. And I am able to tell you what I think the home's going to appraise for, which is not necessarily the sticker price. So if we're going in and we're looking at this house and the house is listed for $325,000 and I say, okay, well, I think it's going to appraise for $350,000. So I think you're good to offer that appraisal gap coverage of $25,000. I don't think you're really going to have to come out of pocket anything. I think it's going to appraise. I think you're going to be good to go to closing and have zero money. That doesn't mean I'm right. So I still want you to be comfortable knowing that you may have to write that check for $25,000 plus your closing costs plus your down payment. I'm telling you, I'm fairly confident, but it also means we could get an appraiser in a bad mood. We could get an appraiser that's trying to correct the market, which there are some appraisers out there that are trying to do that don't like what's been happening over the past couple of years, that are trying to make adjustments. Everyone knows I can fight appraisers. I'm married to one. He works right there. That's his big giant computer screen that he likes to look at. But I also know how to read appraisal reports and talk to appraisers the right way without fighting them and being rude. And I have won against a lot of appraisers and getting them to reconsider value. So when I'm on your team, I'm able to fight for you if you want me to. It could be that it comes in low and you're like, you know what, I'm out of here. I don't want the house anymore. And that's also a way you can get out if it's outside of that parameter. If you have already promised something to the seller, then you're in it. So if you promise that $25,000 gap coverage to the seller, then you are guaranteeing that. Now, if it comes in $30,000 lower, then we go back to the seller and we talk about what that means. And we say, look, we've got a $5,000 difference. You still are promising the $25,000, but they either need to come up with the other $5,000 or you need to agree to come up with that extra $5,000 or we meet in the middle. If we cannot agree, then there is the right to terminate. But that's a conversation we have when we get there. So that is just one way we can work through these multiple offer situations to look good, to stand out amongst other people that are offering on your dream house and win.